Welcome to the Boston Celtics Roundtable. I'm Jonathan Levy. I'm joined by Matthew Ignall and Jonathan Ignall, the two brothers Ignall. We're going to break down some serious Celtics players' power rankings since the All-Star break. Man, it's weird, right? The Celtics are 3-2 since the break. They've had some great wins. They blew out the Lakers. They beat the Cavs in maybe the best regular season game in the NBA this season. And yet, it's been kind of a wishy-washy time so far. Celtics individually not playing spectacularly well, nor as a team. They got blown out by the Hawks. It hasn't been super great, but let's see what we think about how each player stacks up specifically since the All-Star break. Jonathan Ignall, let's start with you. Who you got at number one?
So, although the king of the fourth and has been the king of the power rankings at the number one spot, we have a new number one for my power rankings. I have Jaylen Brown, the rookie, as number one on our Celtics power rankings post All-Star break. This is by far the best stint of his young professional career. The kid, in my eyes, has a legit chance to be a star in this league. He's got the work ethic, the body, the athleticism, the IQ, and most importantly, the confidence. And someday I really think he can reach it. Last pod, I spoke about what he needs to do to propel himself in the Rookie of the Year conversation. And what we came up with was we needed to see some highlight plays. Well, against the Lakers, Jaylen really delivered. He must have had like 4 or 5 highlight plays by himself against the Lakers. So great week for Jaylen, or great couple weeks for Jaylen. He has that number one spot for me.
Wow, that is definitely an upset. I got to say, Matthew, do you agree?
You know, I wanted to. I knew Jonathan was going to put Jaylen at number one, and I wanted to as well. But I did wind up going with Isaiah Thomas because he had those 31 points against Cleveland. He put up kind of Iversonian numbers this week, 24.2 points, 38% from the field, 31%. He blew his streak against Atlanta in that awful 4 for 21 game, but you know he got most of his misses out in that one loss. So, you know, it's not like that carried over. And I thought he was okay against the Lakers, even though he only scored 18 points. But, you know, winning that Cavs game down the stretch with those 2 assists and that big 3, and then, of course, he lit up Detroit like he always did. So, you know, the numbers are down. This was one of his worst weeks of the season, but he still powers the Celtics offense. In good conscience, I can't have him at anything less than 1. What about you?
I had him at number one also. It was questionable. His numbers, as you said, not spectacular. 5.6 assists, 38% from the field, 31 from 3, 24 points, but he's taken a lot of shots. It's not amazing, but he still is the straw that stirs the drink ultimately, and everyone else kind of sucked over the last 5 games. Jaylen was at least a contender. I didn't have him really even in that close to number one, but he had pretty good numbers. He's the one guy who shot, besides Amir Johnson, who shot really well. So I sort of get it from Jonathan's point of view. 55% overall, 44% from 3, 13 points, 5 rebounds in 25 minutes. But I had to ultimately go with Isaiah also. He still is the guy that everything else revolves around and makes the offense happen.
Jaylen Brown also badly outplayed Brandon Ingram in the win against the Lakers, scoring 16 points on efficient shooting, most of it coming right at the rim. I think a lot of that credit should go to the Lakers, though, and their absolute refusal to defend.
I mean, Kelly Olynyk outplayed Brandon Ingram, and Kelly Olynyk had his worst game of the season, so it says a lot about Ingram.
You know, I think he's got a high ceiling. You could see flashes with him. He knows how to handle the ball. I think he's deceptively athletic, and he's ridiculously long. I think he's going to find his place in the league. I just wonder if the Lakers are the place to do it because, you know, the ball found Jaylen Brown today in places where it didn't find Brandon Ingram, and the credit for that goes to the fact that the Celtics had the much better team. But yeah, I have Jaylen at the number 2 spot. He played really good defense. His defense is just kind of night and day compared to where it was early in the year. He's scoring. He's getting a lot of rebounds, 8, 7, 5, and 5 over his last 4. We'll ignore the 0 rebound performance against Toronto. But this was obviously clearly his best week of the year, and you have to be thrilled with the progress he's making and his confidence as an all-time high, and it shows.
Jaylen seems like maybe the shining star ultimately of this draft class. We'll see. There's a long way to go, but you can see him progressing so much. It's very exciting. But he's not my number 2. My number 2 is Jay Crowder. He is the rock. He was the one guy who just held it together for everybody these 5 games. 31 minutes played, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 44% from the field, 44% from 3. He was there when you needed him. He hit big shots down the stretch against Cleveland. He D'd up LeBron very well, as did Jaylen, by the way. The Celtics are amazing defensively. But I love Jay, and Jay loves us.
Yeah, I had Jaylen at my 3 spot. Really a toss-up. I just
Jay,
last.
you mean Jay, right?
That's right. Yeah, I switched Jaylen and Jay at the end to put Jay at 3. But yeah, he's you say he's the rock, but he's a very inconsistent player. But this week was a good week for him. You like the solid percentages. He's been rebounding well. 7 rebounds is pretty good for him.
Yeah, I have him at 3 too. The big thing with Jay for me, I think we saw it a lot in the Lakers game. He's starting to attack the paint a little more. He's not as one-dimensional on offense as we've seen him. So that's an encouraging sign because we want to see him get to the line. We want to see him get to the rim. And he wasn't really doing that at the beginning of the year. I think it was injury-related. He was coming back from his injury. But he looks healthy. He looks spry. So let's I got him 3.
Marcus Smart is my number 3. So Jaylen's still not even in the conversation for me. Marcus Smart playing that incredible defense, always doing things that you never seen before on a court. It seems almost every game he makes a play you've just never seen before. It wasn't super pretty, I won't lie. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 39% shooting, 18% from 3.
Hey, that 39% field goal shooting, that's above his career average. That's above his season average. So it looks ugly.
It is.
But for him,
he's at least getting more shots in the paint. Him in the paint is relatively devastating, both on the post-up and driving in there. He can pass out from there. He's very comfortable shooting there. I, as a Celtics fan, feel very good when he shoots from there. I feel like it's going to go in more often than not, even if it isn't going in more often than not. It at least feels good. So, yeah, that's my number 3. All right, who you guys got at 4? Let's start with you, Jonathan.
I had Marcus Smart at 4. Played great defense, terrible shooting. Typical Marcus, I'll take it. Makes winning plays. I think it's been an off week an off couple weeks since a break for the team. There wasn't much competition for those top spots, so I think Marcus Smart a solid number 4.
Yeah, he's there for me as well. And he's got a really soft touch inside the paint. I know his paint numbers are better on post-ups than on drives, which is pretty bizarre. But on those post-ups, he's got a nice soft touch in there. And yeah, he was pretty bad against the Lakers. Those 5 turnovers were way too much. So he might have been my number 2 if it weren't for the game against the Lakers. That comeback happened when he was running the point.
My number 4, guy not yet mentioned by anyone, Big Al Horford. I know he took a lot of flack for the last several games. Shot the ball horribly most of the time. Seemed sort of starstruck a lot, like stunned, like he's been hit in the head or something. I don't know. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 44% shooting in 32 minutes. But he still is a guy who helps the offense so much. That he's maybe the best passing big man in the league. Maybe not, I guess Draymond. Okay, fine. He's a top 5 passing big man in the league. He's a big part of the reason why Isaiah is as effective as he is. I can't just throw him to the scrap heap yet. He's my number 4, and then Jaylen was my number 5. Jonathan, who you got at 5?
At 5, I got Avery. He's been away from the team for a while with the Achilles injury. Anytime you can come back and fit seamlessly and pick up right where you left off is great, but the fact that he did it on the defensive end against KYRIE Irving, the most deadly maybe offensive player in this league when he's going, super impressive. I mean, I don't care about any other game. Just the fact that he did that solidified him at that 5 spot. Number 6, here's one out of left field. I got James Young.
Whoa.
Hear me out.
What?
Hear me out. So
he's got James Young above Al Horford.
I got James Young above Al Horford. I talked about Avery, how all I cared about was that Cleveland game. For James Young, all I care about is that Raptors game. First game back from the break, they played the Raptors in a loss. He stole the ball on one end and ran down the other and dunked it.
John, this is ridiculous. What are you impressed by, the 29% field goal shooting or the 17% from 3?
That play was the Toronto Raptors completely falling apart on defense. It isn't like James Young skied above someone to dunk. Both guys running back just parted. The Red Sea parted for James Young. He walked right in and had the easiest play of his NBA career for sure. It was awesome.
We didn't know if James Young would be on this team at the start of the year. Remember the whole R.J. Hunter, James Young thing? Let's get
out of here. 12 minutes against the Lakers, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks.
Let me just reassure the listeners. James Young is not in my top 10. He is nowhere in my top 10, just to be clear. Matt, is he in your top 10 anywhere?
No, we don't reward guys based on one play.
I think that's probably a sound way to do it. Call me crazy. What's happened to Jonathan? He's like sucked in by the highlights, man.
That's
Jaylen
right.
number 1.
Oh, I don't watch the games. I only watch the highlight recaps.
That makes more sense. Now I get it. Today's roundtable is being brought to you by the SeatGeek ticketing app. As the Celtics playoff push heats up, SeatGeek is the smartest and easiest way to get tickets to every game. With SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, you can buy and sell tickets in just 2 taps. And it doesn't end with the Celtics or any other NBA game. SeatGeek also has plenty of concert, comedy, and theater tickets available too, and it's all fully guaranteed. Listeners to CLNS Radio can support this production and get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. Here's how. Download the free SeatGeek app, go to the Settings tab, and click Add a Promo Code, and enter promo code CELTSNEWS, all one word, that's CELTSNEWS, and SeatGeek will send you $20 after you made your first ticket purchase. Download the free SeatGeek app and enter the promo code CELTSNEWS today.
Back to reality. I have Amir Johnson actually above Al Horford, who should be punished for shooting 44%, shooting 20% from 3, from having 3 consecutive pretty awful games against Toronto, Detroit, and Atlanta. You can't have him in your top 5 or 6 when he had a stretch like that. Not when Amir Johnson shot 63% from the field, 43% from the 3, including 2 threes against the Lakers. Yeah, he doesn't play a ton of minutes, and yeah, he doesn't grease the offense quite the same way that Al Horford does, but, he's another unheralded guy, and, although his stats are, except for the efficiency stuff, are kind of pedestrian, I do think Al Horford needs to be penalized for 3 awful games.
I'm with you. I have Amir 6, Al 7 for the same exact reasons. You can't put Al ahead of Amir.
But you can put James Young ahead of them both.
Oh yeah. The James Young hype train, all aboard, baby.
Well, there was a point when you were asking, where's James Young? The answer is at number 5 on your list, I guess. So now we know.
Solid 5. You can't put Al ahead of him or James Young. Amir's continued. I thought it was a fluke, that Bulls game when he hit 3 threes at the beginning of the year. He's turned into a legit stretch 5. I can't believe I'm saying that, because when you watch him shoot the ball, it looks like he has no clue how to shoot a basketball. He waits for the defender to close out and throws up some crazy 3-point shot that seems to always go in. So I don't really know if that can continue, but for now I love watching Amir Johnson shoot 3s.
Credit to Zaire, who called it on this game yet again. I don't know what that guy's doing, but he must have a crystal ball or something, because it seems like every time he publicly pronounces something, it comes true. He said Amir Johnson would have a big game against the Lakers, and Amir Johnson looked at his hand like it was on fire.
For Zaire, who needs math or analytics when you have psychic abilities?
That's right.
It does trump all, for sure. I had Amir at 6 as well, for all the same reasons. Al Horford's still clearly ahead of him, guys. But I will say Amir has gotten to the point where it goes from no when he'll shoot a 3 to I just expect it to go in, and I'm surprised when it doesn't, which is bizarre, right? Yep. His shooting after the first month and a half of the season from 3 has got to be around 50%. I mean, because he was struggling in the beginning of the season, and since that Bulls game, he basically doesn't miss anymore. It's weird. I had Avery at number 7 for all the reasons you guys said. Boy, was he good against KYRIE, and that was mind-blowingly good defense. Who got at number 7, Jonathan?
Jonas Strebko.
Welcome back, Jonas. We missed you. You were god-awful with that mask on. I don't know why. You can see through it. He said it was obstructing his vision, but those eye holes are pretty substantial, and it's clear throughout. It seems like other players are able to play through it without it affecting them too much, but Jonas threw it away early. And it looks like he's hit basically every shot since. He's been perfect from the field the last 3 games. So yeah, he's in that spot. I think that's 8th for me as well. Welcome back.
Yeah, I got him at 8 also. I got Rozier at 9 and Kelly at 10. Terry Rozier got it together, man. He just got rebound after rebound. He got fouled in the backcourt 3 times in a row, I think. So he's 9. It's not like he's playing great, but he's playing all right. And yeah, I got Kelly at 10 also. He at least makes it easier for everybody else, because they still have to respect his 3-point shot, even though there's no reason to, at least these last 5 games. All right, I guess that's it. I guess we're run out. Everyone's been ranked. For Matt Ignall and Jonathan Ignall, I'm Jonathan Levy. See you next time on the Celtics Roundtable.